Hey YouTube, it's Frisky Dingle here doing another reaction video. For today's reaction, we're doing Oscar De La Hoya versus Canelo Alvarez. Oscar De La Hoya made a funny Instagram post commenting towards another Instagram user about our favorite top pound for pound fighter, Canelo Alvarez, and basically saying, he doesn't throw his hooks right, he throws them up in the air, he's flat-footed, and he basically avoided Charlo. We really don't know where Oscar's coming from with this information. Maybe there's been some communication in the background camps. Maybe the lawsuit hasn't been going the way either of them thought it was going to go. But you could obviously see that there's some type of animosity between them two. And it's really upsetting. I think that Oscar is a part of the reason why Canelo Alvarez has this personality, right? Obviously Oscar was the one guiding and mentoring the fighter during the period in time where he was accused of having a lackluster resume. Most can say that Canelo did do big fights in the sense of Mayweather, Laura Trout, which at the time were at that point all three of them were considered the top 10 pound for pound. So in modern time, we haven't gotten a really good, solid Canelo fight. And I think that's really where this comes from. I think that Oscar De La Hoya, for all of the animosity that he received being a Mexican champion, right? Because a lot of people said, well, he wasn't Mexican. He's just a Mexican-American, XYZ. I think the full support of how people treat Canelo Alvarez, even though he currently isn't fighting the best prime for prime fighters against himself, I think that's where the animosity comes from. Oscar has displayed this multiple times. He's very confident in speaking out against his own fighters. When Ryan Garcia was all talk on Instagram, doing all these other things, he spoke against him first. Who else? There's actually quite a few other boxers that from his camp that he spoke about that. Honestly, he didn't care about speaking about it. And Canelo and Ryan Garcia being his both biggest stars, and he didn't care about either one of them. So in the sense of giving his opinion, he didn't want to protect them. With Ryan, I remember vividly him saying, well, this kid's not ready for Tank, XYZ. When asked about Devin Haney, he laughed and chuckled. So overall, when it comes to what we're dealing with now with Canelo Alvarez, I see him being disappointed because he's always going to be a boxer first. Boxer first means that he expects you to take all the big fights no matter what you think, what position you're in, how much money you have. That's not the way he sees it. Now, with Oscar De La Hoya, obviously the biggest argument is he didn't win all of his big fights, but he did win notable big fights too. So a lot of people that I see being biased, I'm truly confused, because that's what boxing is. You're going to take an L. You're going to take a loss. You're going to fight someone who's going to be considered better than you. The point is to overcome and arise from that challenge and adapt and become different. And I think in boxing in general, we've lost that understanding. A little bit to do with the Mayweather era, but at the same time, Mayweather fought the best. And now everyone's trying to replicate that, and that's why we have the problems we do in today. So do I see Oscar saying these type of things again? Yes, I do. Obviously, he's a boxer. He's always going to be vocal. Do I think that Canelo Alvarez at this point is going to fight a big fight such as a Jamal Charlo, or is he going to fight a Demetrius Andre? Is he going to maybe move up and fight a Better Beeve or Nail? There's different. Everyone is criticizing him because of this aspect that he's moving through these divisions and not fighting the best and picking and choosing, right? So a lot of people make this comparison. Oh, Mayweather did the same, but Mayweather didn't really do the same. When you look at his movement through 130, he beat Chicanito Hernandez, aka Gennaro Hernandez, who was the lineal 130 champion, also used to be the lineal 135 champion, lost to Oscar De La Hoya, moved back down to 130, stayed undefeated. Mayweather came in, defeated him. He moved to 130, tried to get all these other type of fights. I'm not going to go through all of every single fighter, but obviously once he got to 135, he only could get a few fights, Castillo being one of them. Then you got him moving to 130. with the Gotti fight, I mean, not 130, 140 with the Gotti fight. The Gotti fight was, once again, Gotti was considered the number one super lightweight at that point. And then 130, 147, obviously we know all the big fights. And then even moving to 154 and doing really big fights at that level too. So it's not like that. I think that's where the problem is. A lot of people see what Mayweather did. They put it on Canelo, not understanding that they're two completely different fighters. So I think ultimately what we're going to do and get the best out of this entire industry of boxing is just seeing Canelo maybe fight somebody in a little bit tougher opposition. So, you know what? I'll definitely look out for more things that are coming up in boxing. I'll definitely have it recorded. I'll check out the timeline, see what else is going on. But I'll definitely see you guys in the next one.